The group of youngsters who were left behind, I suspect there was an argument about who got the rocking horse.
I'm 75 now, and I can't remember anybody except the Queen being.
Just when Camilla thought she had the upper hand, Princess Anne stepped in and shut it all down. Rumors are swirling that Queen Camilla made a bold power move, but Anne wasn't having it. What exactly happened behind palace doors? And why is this causing major tension? Let's dive in. The royal family is no stranger to internal conflicts, but this one is sending shockwaves through Buckingham Palace. Just when it seemed King Charles had secured a stable reign, a quiet yet powerful resistance emerged, led by none other than Princess Anne. For years, Camilla has carefully navigated her way into a position of prominence, gradually earning public acceptance. But sources say she may have overstepped this time. Reports suggest Camilla attempted to assert more authority within the monarchy, making a bold move to strengthen her influence. However, Anne, known for her strict adherence to royal traditions, wasn't about to let that happen. Those close to the situation reveal that Anne acted swiftly, blocking Camilla's plan before it could gain momentum.
It is the monarch that is the key to this, and the Constitution.
But what exactly did Camilla try to do? And why was Anne so determined to stop it? This isn't just a simple disagreement, it's a power struggle with deep historical roots. To understand why Anne took a stand, we have to go back to the moment Camilla entered the royal family and how her ambitions have shaped this growing tension. When Charles and Camilla married in 2005, the palace was careful with its wording. Camilla was not to be called queen, but instead princess consort, a compromise designed to respect public sentiment and acknowledge the shadow of Princess Diana. But according to royal insiders, Camilla wasn't satisfied with that arrangement. Over time, whispers began circulating that she had her eyes set on the ultimate title, Queen Consort. And when Charles ascended the throne, her wish was granted. Anne, however, reportedly saw this as a betrayal of previous commitments. She had always been a firm believer in tradition and saw no reason for Camilla's title to be upgraded. Why change the plan now? What message did it send to the public?
Not just interest, but of service, of understanding. The way that people...
The disagreement over Camilla's title wasn't just a symbolic dispute, it represented a larger issue. Anne reportedly viewed this as an early sign that Camilla intended to wield more influence than expected. This realization put Anne on high alert, making her wary of what Camilla might try to do next. And soon enough, the Queen's sister found herself in another battle with Camilla, this time over something much more personal. Unlike many members of the royal family, Anne has always seen her role as a duty, not a privilege. While others have occasionally tried to modernize the monarchy, Anne has remained unwavering in her commitment to tradition. For years, insiders say Anne has been skeptical of Camilla's growing influence. Some claim that she believes Camilla has positioned herself carefully over time, not just as Charles's wife, but as a figure of power. So when Camilla began asserting herself more prominently within royal affairs,
There's not worry too much about the things, the fashions, the things that come and go, and to understand what is...
Anne reportedly took action behind the scenes. She allegedly used her deep ties within the royal household to prevent Camilla from making certain key decisions. This wasn't about personal dislike. It was about protecting the monarchy from unnecessary changes. Anne has always viewed the royal family as an institution that should remain stable and unshaken by personal ambitions. And to her, Camilla's growing role was starting to cross that line. But this quiet battle wasn't just happening behind closed doors. It was also unfolding in subtle public ways, including in their contrasting styles and the way they presented themselves to the world. For years, Anne has been known for her practical and modest wardrobe, often re-wearing outfits from decades ago. She sees fashion as functional, not something to make a statement with.
On time before they really work out what they want to do. And that's how you have to be so careful.
Camilla, on the other hand, embraces high-end fashion, designer pieces, and elegant accessories. She understands the power of public perception and uses fashion to reinforce her status. But sources claim Anne wasn't impressed. Allegedly, she saw Camilla's extravagant choices as unnecessary and even damaging to the royal image. To Anne, being royal isn't about personal style. It's about duty and restraint. Every appearance, every outfit, every accessory carries meaning. And in her eyes, Camilla's approach clashed with the monarchy's traditionally conservative image. But was this really about fashion, or was it Anne's way of sending a message? A way of reinforcing the idea that Camilla was still an outsider in the world of royal customs.
And it's a huge advantage if you have somebody who can be recognised as that, and not just in your...
The differences between them weren't just about appearance. They extended to how they approached royal responsibilities, and this was where their biggest clash began. Princess Anne has long been recognized as one of the hardest-working royals, attending hundreds of engagements per year. To her, duty comes first, always. Camilla, while dedicated in her own way, has taken a more measured approach. She is selective about the events she attends, choosing to focus on fewer but high-profile causes. This has reportedly caused friction between the two women. Sources claim Anne believes every royal should carry equal weight in public service, and she isn't impressed by Camilla's more relaxed schedule. Anne's belief is simple. If you wear a royal title, you work for it. There's no room for selective engagement or personal preferences. This divide has led to ongoing disagreements about how the monarchy should operate.
You didn't throw things away. I'm that old. That often comes from...
And perhaps most significantly, it played a major role in one of Anne's most shocking moves against Camilla, one that directly impacted Camilla's access to power. When Camilla officially became queen consort, many assumed she would immediately gain full access to the monarchy's most sensitive records: classified reports, royal briefings, and high-level government affairs. After all, as the wife of King Charles, it would only make sense for her to be kept in the loop, right? But Princess Anne had other ideas. According to insiders, Anne worked quietly behind the scenes to limit Camilla's access to these crucial documents, and she didn't do it alone. Sources claim Anne, along with trusted palace aides and high-ranking officials, deliberately ensured that Camilla was kept out of key discussions regarding monarchy strategy and state matters. But why?
There will always be problems that you have to catch up in the short term.
The reason, according to those close to the situation, was simple but shocking. Anne reportedly didn't trust Camilla. Anne had spent her entire life dedicated to the monarchy. She knew how decisions were made, what information was shared, and most importantly, who should have access to that information. And in her eyes, Camilla hadn't earned that privilege. Anne's decision sent shockwaves through the palace. After all, queen consorts of the past had typically been fully involved in royal affairs. They had been briefed on matters of state and consulted on important decisions. But with Anne pulling the strings behind the scenes, Camilla found herself in a very different position. This wasn't just about controlling documents. This was about controlling influence. By restricting Camilla's access to information, Anne was effectively limiting her power within the monarchy. Without full knowledge of high-level affairs, Camilla's role would be largely symbolic rather than functional.
Only room for one sovereign at a time, not two. So you can't be the same.
She might have held the title of queen consort, but behind closed doors, her actual authority was being carefully managed. Reports suggest that this issue led to heated discussions within the palace, with even King Charles forced to step in and mediate. Camilla, understandably, was furious. She allegedly confronted palace officials, demanding to know why she was being excluded from critical discussions. After all, as the king's wife, shouldn't she be involved? But Anne stood firm. According to those in the know, Anne's stance was clear. Camilla was not part of the royal bloodline, had not been raised within the traditions of the monarchy, and had not spent a lifetime preparing for such responsibilities. In Anne's eyes, loyalty wasn't just about being married to the king. It was about proving unwavering dedication to the institution of the monarchy itself.
Control and suppress everything about her without suffering the consequences.
And as far as Anne was concerned, Camilla hadn't yet done that. What made this even more dramatic was the fact that Anne wasn't the only royal who shared these concerns. Insiders claim that other senior royals also had reservations about how much influence Camilla should have. Some feared that giving her unrestricted access to royal strategy and government discussions could shift the balance of power in ways they weren't comfortable with. In other words, Anne wasn't acting alone. So what did Camilla do next? Sources suggest she pleaded her case directly to King Charles, arguing that as queen consort, she had a right to be fully included. And Charles, despite his deep respect for Anne's judgment, was said to be incredibly torn. On one hand, Charles had spent decades fighting for Camilla to be accepted within the royal family. Now that she had finally been crowned queen consort, he wanted her to have the influence that came with the title. But on the other hand, Anne was his sister, one of his closest confidants and one of the most trusted members of the royal household. If Anne believed restricting Camilla's access was necessary to protect the monarchy, was Charles really in a position to argue? Ultimately, a compromise was reached. While Camilla was given access to certain key documents, her influence within high-level discussions remained limited. She was included in meetings but not given unrestricted access to confidential briefings. And behind the scenes, Anne continued to watch carefully, ensuring that Camilla's role didn't expand beyond what she deemed appropriate. What do you think? Did Anne go too far? Or was she right to block Camilla's moves? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our next video for more royal drama.